Hey guys, I am back with another video. Now you may already be aware that I am expecting baby number 2, and at this stage I am 32 weeks, so it's really not far away. I currently also have a almost 21-month-old as well, so I will have 2 under 2 for a short while, which is a bit scary. I already have a boy and I'm going to be having another boy, so I'm going to be having 2 boys, and this video is all about the stuff that I either am going to purchase or have purchased already to prepare for 2 under 2. Alright, so the first thing that I really wanted to get was a carrier for 2 under 2, because I know that I will probably have to carry my newborn a lot because I will still be looking after a toddler. When you've only got one, you've kind of got the freedom of not necessarily needing to do that, but if you still need to look after a toddler while you've got a newborn, then you still need to be up and about. And if your newborn's not sleeping, for example, and needs to be on you, then it may be your only choice to actually have them in a carrier. Now, I do have a couple of carriers already, and one of them being the Coney carrier. And although I like it, it's one of those carriers where you don't need to do the whole wrap thing. It's like half done up for you, so you put it on like a shirt. The only thing with those sorts of wraps or carriers is that they come in sizes, and I actually bought a size too big, so it's a bit too loose when I actually put a baby in there, so it's not as supportive. So this time round, I decided to brave it and to actually get one of those long wraps. And I feel like because I've already had a kid, that I'm a bit more confident with attempting that now. And so I actually had the Chico one sent to me. I really love their prints. They've also got beautiful swaddles as well. The fabric is really nice and stretchy, and I have practiced a few times and I feel like it's not too hard. Of course, I haven't tried with an actual newborn, but yeah, I feel like it's going to be a lot more snug and a lot more comfortable for a newborn to be in one of those sorts of wraps rather than the Coney that I've got, or even those more structured ones as well. Now, the second thing I decided to try for 2 under 2 was to actually get a capsule. We never had a capsule for Emmanuel, my son, because we didn't feel like we needed it, and it was a good thing we didn't get a capsule then, because it was during all like the COVID lockdown, so we weren't out and about anyway. This time round, I am going to borrow a friend's capsule that she's not using, and I feel like that will come in handy, especially for childcare pickups and drop-offs, because I've seen other parents just like pick up the capsule while they drop off their other kid, and then, you know, just put it straight back in the car. And you can obviously do that on a pram as well. Now, Emmanuel was never a good baby to transfer from the car out into a pram or out while sleeping. He would always wake up. So if our second kid is like that, then I feel like the capsule will definitely be handy, because when you've got 2, like you no longer have the freedom to just sit in your car and wait for them to wake up from their nap, because you've got another kid that is potentially awake and not going to wait around. So I feel like the capsule will come in handy this time round. And that leads me on to the third item, which is a double stroller. Now, we didn't get a double stroller or a double pram the first time round because we didn't know how long it would take us to conceive a second baby, because of what we went through with conceiving our first. And I didn't really want to invest in a double pram that is typically quite bulky if we never really would need it. Turns out we do. So we currently have an upper baby cruise. Love my upper baby cruise, but unfortunately we will need to sell that, and we did a lot of research. We really wanted to get one that was as compact as possible and not as big and bulky. That's my thing with double strollers. I just hate how bulky they are. So I didn't want to get one that was side by side, because I just feel like they're just big monsters of a pram. So we wanted one that would stack. So we ended up getting the Baby Bee one. We haven't used it yet, so I can't really comment on that, but they do have a great return policy. So you can purchase it online and then return it within, I think, 90 days if you've only used it indoors. So definitely do your research but we felt like a double stroller was needed because even though Emmanuel will be a little bit older, I feel like he will still have times where he will want to sit in a pram or be better off sitting in a pram because, you know, they're so hard to control if they're running around that it's good to have them strapped in. So yeah, double stroller life, here we come. Now the next thing I decided to get for 2 under 2 was a baby lounger. And it's not necessarily because of the 2 under 2, but because it's just not something that we had for Emmanuel, and he was just such an unsettled newborn. He hardly ever napped during the day. The only way he would nap is if we were in the pram and he was moving. Like, it was just so difficult to get him to be settled and to sleep that I feel like I am willing to try one of those baby lounges that seems to work really well for lots of other parents. So we got one of those and fingers crossed it works. The other thing is when you've just got the one baby, you can obviously just plop them on the floor like on a blanket and they're fine. But if you've got a toddler running around, which ours always is, he's always like running around with his wagon or even riding his little balance bike inside the house. You don't want to put your baby right on the floor. So the baby lounger is going to be useful for that. Now this time around, we've also decided to buy a CoSleeper. Not so much for the co-sleeping function in that you can unzip it and have them right next to you, but more so because they're just a bigger sized bassinet. And the reason for this is because with Emmanuel, we decided to use the upper baby pram bassinet as his overnight sleep bassinet, which worked fine. We bought a Moses basket stand for it. The only thing is, and also because he's a tall boy, he grew out of that at 10 weeks old when the description says that it lasts till 6 months. It did not last 6 months. Like, he's a tall kid, but even if you don't have a tall kid, I feel like it's unlikely that a bassinet of that size is going to last till 6 months. So because of that, we actually had to put him in his own room at 10 weeks, which wasn't an issue for him. Like, he actually adapted really, really well. But at that point, he was still on 2 feeds a night. And for me to actually get up, go and feed him, do the nappy change and all of that, come back, then try and go back to sleep, and then do another feed in the middle of the night, I felt like I was hardly getting any sleep because all that stimulation for me of getting up and all of that was actually making it really difficult for me to fall back asleep. Whereas when he was still in our room, it was just sort of an easy, just like pass the baby, feed, pass it back. Like, it was a lot less stimulation for me, and I was able to go back to sleep quite easily. So I wouldn't want to be in the position where I actually move this baby out into his own room too early while he's still on 2 feeds. I probably wouldn't do it until he's at least on 1 feed a night, if not on no feeds, just because I know what it was like last time around and I want to avoid that. So the one that we got is from Target. This one has a very nice firm mattress, which I know a lot of bassinets or a lot of co-sleepers have quite thin, soft mattresses, which you don't want because they can slope and they can be a bit dangerous for your newborn. It's also got the mesh and it's got an adjustable height setting as well. Now, the next thing I decided to buy this time round was a bottle warmer. Last time we didn't have one. We ended up borrowing a friend's after a few months in because we thought that we would just be able to easily warm up a bottle in hot water, which you can, but what I didn't realize is that when you just put a bottle into hot water, that hot water is going to turn cold because you might have like frozen milk in your bottle. So you actually have to keep replacing that water until the bottle warms up, and it takes forever. And if you've got a crying, screaming child, you want to be able to warm up that milk ASAP. And in saying that, I breastfed most of the time. We only did a bottle like once a week, and even that was inconvenient. And once we borrowed my friend's bottle warmer, we realized how much easier it is and quicker. So this time around, we just decided to buy one. So that's all the brand new things specific to the newborn that we've got. A couple of other things that we have purchased is also another baby change mat. We're just getting the same babyhood one because Emmanuel's still using his. We use his every day. We still change him on his dresser every single day. And we found that by doing that, he doesn't actually move on that. He lets us just change him. Whereas the few times that we've like changed him elsewhere, like on a bed, on a couch, he does roll around and stuff. But once he's on his dresser on the change mat, he knows not to roll around. So that has worked really well. So we're actually going to have just like another change station in baby brother's room with the same change mat, same nappy bin and that sort of thing. Now for my toddler, we are actually going to get some toys that he can entertain himself with purely during times when I need to attend to the newborn and can't be watching him as closely. And hopefully that will occupy him for a bit. Obviously you can turn on the TV, and I'm sure we will be turning on the TV plenty, but I do want to have some toys handy for that as well. The other thing is just to prepare him for what's to come. We have also bought him a baby doll, and that has been really good in that he definitely like pretends to do all the things to the baby doll that we do for him. So we clean his face, we clean his eyes every morning, and sometimes he gets a cotton ball and he like cleans the baby's eyes as well, or he'll like pretend to feed the baby and things like that. So hopefully that will help when our newborn comes along. We're just trying to do what we can to try and mentally prepare him for what's to come. We also already have a learning tower for him, which I think is going to be really handy for when we have our newborn, because then we can use the learning tower for him to get more involved with helping us out. So for example, when we're giving baby brother a bath in the sink, he can stand in the learning tower and like, you know, pass us the washcloth or like help wipe baby's body and things like that. All right, so that's all the things that we are getting for preparing for 2 under 2. We have literally not bought any new clothes at all because we're having another boy. We don't need to get any new outfits. So this poor kid is already on hand-me-downs galore. We are going to move him into the nursery, so which is Emmanuel's existing room. And then Emmanuel's going to get a new sort of like big boy room. So once that is done, I'm sure I will be doing a room tour of his big boy room. So definitely subscribe if you haven't already. I also have heaps of other mummy content on my channel, so check it out. Also follow me on Instagram because I do post a lot on Insta stories there. And don't forget to thumbs up this video if you found it useful and leave your comments down below. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.